Okay, we're standing here at Heath's Division, Garnett's Battalion, Morin's Battery, which was also named the Donaldsville Artillery. It's one 10-pound Parrott and two 3-inch rifles. These guns were on July 1st around 3:30. They were used to relieve Peagram's guns, whose ammunition was exhausted. And of course, Peagram's is in that direction. I did a video on them earlier. Um, at the time, Peagram's guns were actually on the ridge west of here at Hers Tavern, which if you look there at Schultz Woods, Hers Tavern would be in the distance straight back there. So these guns relieved Peagram's battery, who was over on Hers Ridge on July 1st at 3:30 p.m. And it took a very active part on day one. On the 2nd of July, they stayed in the position where they are right now, but they weren't engaged in the battle until 3 p.m. when it opened fire on Cemetery Hill and stayed at firing on Cemetery Hill until sunset. Um, they were very vigorous in their attack, and the purpose of this fire at 3 p.m. on the 2nd was diverting the fire of the Union artillery from East Cemetery Hill. And of course, on July 3rd, they were ordered to a position south of McMillan's Woods and held in reserve, but they were not engaged on the 3rd of July of 1863. And then on the 4th of July, they withdrew from the field around 8 a.m. and they were taken to Cashtown to reinforce and protect the wagon train as Lee made his escape. Schultz Woods is over here. Recently, a couple years ago, as a part of the Battlefield's Restoration Project, they began to cut down a lot of the trees in the woods, since there hadn't been that many during the battle. And then in some areas, like this Bear area, they planted an orchard of trees because there were some. Just past these trees there, if you look at that little hump of high grass, that is actually some of the original Confederate earthworks that was unearthed. A couple years ago, this field was a lot of trees and high grass, and for 50 years or so, those Confederate earthworks were just covered by brush and trees and high grass, and they weren't seen. And as you can see how, as you go here south, those earthworks just go straight in a line, and then they merge right into the woods over there, McMillan Woods. This is Schultz Woods over here. That tree that we're looking at in the center is actually a witness tree. It does have a tag on the back that's very high up, and it's very rusty. I'm going to call this the Armory Witness Tree because it sits pretty much across from the World War I armory that sits here on Confederate Avenue. So I've put these two aspects together for this video, and this is a video on a witness tree, the Armory tree, Schultz Woods with the original Confederate earthworks, and then the Heath Division Morin's Battery guns here, which are facing Cemetery Hill, because you can see in the distance as you look over past Colt Park, you'll see the water tower there in the distance, and that's East Cemetery Hill. This has been Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook, Morin's Battery.